Alright guys, welcome to the video. We are driving a 2017 Chevy Camaro SS. This has the 6.2 liter LT1 engine. It's not the LS anymore like the older versions. I think they stopped in 2014 or 15 if I'm remember right. But this thing is an absolute monster. They come with the optional 6-speed transmission or the 8-speed automatic. What I have here is the 8-speed automatic. It's an absolute monster. I was going to use the bigger camera, but I want you guys to be able to hear the exhaust note as we're driving here. So what better place to take it to the old Las Vegas Boulevard, where no tourists come, nobody really drives because it's right next to the highway to California, and really open it up. Now I will say I've already managed to use 1/8 of a tank in fuel just driving it from Central down to here. I may have gone a little bit too crazy. So the first thing I noticed when I got in the car was this mode button right here down by the gear shifter, and what it does is when you press it on the instrument cluster, it gives you driving modes. It's got Tour, Sport, Track with snow and ice. Now so far I've had it on Track the entire time, but I'm gonna put it on Sport for the review portion. And conveniently, the button that I'm talking about is also right next to the traction control off button, which we're gonna leave that on for now again, but if you keep watching, you just might be surprised by what we do. So anyway, review of the car. So the seating position is very comfortable. Now, one thing that I also immediately noticed, this is the convertible model. They didn't have a hardtop available for me to drive, but one thing that I did immediately notice is obviously it's very short. I'm 6'1", and you can see I'm pretty much at the top of the roof. If I sit up straight, I'm at the top of the roof. But seating position wise, the seat bolsters are very comfortable. They're snug, but they're not they're not squeezing me like you saw in the Focus RS video. It's adjustable. I believe it's a 9-way adjustment. You can move the seat this way and forward and back. It fits you very nicely, or it fits me very nicely. It's got a lovely leather wrapped steering wheel with the slash cut bottom. It's also, like I said, it's got the 8-speed automatic transmission, but it also has paddle shifters here for you on the steering wheel. It does have an 8-inch screen, I believe, that allows you to control the audio, the phone, navigation, text messaging, and there's other apps available to download. As you saw in the beginning, I did have some trouble trying to figure out the air conditioning controls. Now, to adjust the air conditioning fan speed and temperature, you actually spin the outside of the air vent, and that took me a little bit of time to figure out. But we got there eventually. I'm nice and cool. It's nice and hot and humid out, so I'm glad that we were able to figure out how the AC works. Now, obviously in a car like this, you have to wonder, like, is it all show? Is it all go? Can you go fast in a straight line only, or how does it corner? And I have to say, it's actually very impressive. One of the things that Chevy did really well with this car was actually make it into more than just a straight line drag weapon. And that's a big deal. Obviously, you've got to turn sometimes, you've got things that come up. And in the sport mode, and especially in the track mode, I was testing it out a little bit earlier and came around a little precarious corner, and we were able to, you know, keep in grip. We didn't lose any traction whatsoever, and I was very impressed with how a car of this size and weight handled. Now, we are stuck behind somebody, so I'm going to put it down in the track mode, and you start driving fast. One of the things that I really like is it gives you an alert on the screen saying performance shifting activated. And what obviously that's telling you is the transmission realizes that you're a complete savage behind the wheel, that you're passing somebody quick, you're doing something that requires a fast shift, and it's like, you know what? This guy's driving like a savage. This is a savage car. We're gonna let him shift a little faster and get to what he's doing even sooner. Now, I do appreciate that, especially in an automatic, because I know, obviously, kind of back in the day, the stigma of an automatic was for, you know, it's for minivans, it's for people that don't really know how to drive. But I think as technology and as mechanics is improving, I think now the automatics can actually keep up and obviously actually shift faster than a manual transmission ever could. Now, obviously, true enthusiasts and diehard fans are still going to maintain that they want the manual transmission no matter what, and part of me does agree with that, but part of me is very impressed with this 8-speed automatic shifting transmission. Let's talk about ride quality. So one of the things that obviously, you know, in a sports car you don't often get is a good combination between ride quality and performance. Now, where we are in this car is we're traveling at 1 mile an hour over the speed limit, and it's very smooth. You can see I'm not jolting around very hard, I'm not being thrown side to side, but it's also not unresponsive and boaty. So some of the problems with, you know, the faster cars, the other muscle cars, specifically the Challenger, is obviously it gets a lot of flack for the weight. But again, the way this one drives, it's not really boaty. It doesn't feel like I'm driving a barge. And like I said, it's very comfortable, very smooth. I'm not being thrown around or bounced to death like I have been in other cars. But it can't all be positive. One thing I will say about the driving position is it's almost comical how low the windshield comes. And I don't know why exactly they decided. I don't know if it's an aerodynamics thing. I don't know if it's just a look and feel thing. But the windshield comes tremendously low down. It feels like even if they'd put it maybe an inch or two higher, I would have a better line of sight. But if I was to try to, you know, look at some traffic lights or go through something like that, I may actually not be able to see the light without either having to lean forward or hang further back. Looking at the outside of this Camaro, one of the things we should note is the 20-inch rims that it comes from factory. They're wrapped in a 295/90/20 from Goodyear, and they give you the classic kind of Camaro 5-spoke rim. They are paired with a Camaro branded Brembo brake caliper. They're not drilled or grooved brake discs though, like you might expect from a car of this speed. Again, about the convertible roof is an option. If this is something that you're looking for a daily driver, you know, obviously trunk space is gonna be a big thing for you. So you just hit this button here on the door, releases the trunk, and let's see what you got. Not a lot. Probably enough for some bodies, but that's about it. Not a very big thing. Obviously you do sacrifice a little bit of trunk space with the convertible option. I personally wouldn't buy the convertible because there is quite a bit of wind noise coming from this area of the top, which is obviously right next to my ear while I'm driving. Control off. The front wheels still tend to hold you back a little bit and don't really allow you to get a full burnout spin like a normal car would. Put it down into tour mode now, and tour mode is obviously like the most tame, what you would expect in an everyday driving situation. Obviously, I would keep it in sport all the time, if not track. They just basically adjust the shift points, adjust the transmission aggressiveness, and various things of that nature. It's all electronic. Obviously, it doesn't actually alter anything with, you know, the mechanics of the vehicle. It's almost like, you know, a lot of times you see guys put tunes on. It's kind of like factory built-in tunes into the system. Honestly, though, overall, I like it. You know, me being a Dodge guy, you know, I was gonna take it with a grain of salt, but it's actually a very, very nice driving car. Now, my only real legitimate complaint is with the visibility and the size of the cabin, and obviously with it being a convertible, there's quite a lot of wind noise coming in this seam right here. Obviously, again, I wouldn't buy the convertible model, but that's what I got to drive today. One of my buddies is actually a foreman mechanic at a Camaro racing shop, and I asked him about these cars, you know, when I was on my quest for a daily driver, and he recommended that I go no later than the kind of the 2012 through 14, so it would still have the old engine. I guess it's a lot more tunable, a lot more buildable. So if you're gonna be going down that road where you're custom tuning, you're adding a lot of parts, and you're wanting to make big power, his recommendation was obviously to go with the older LS engine rather than this new LT motor. I can't tell you from personal experience because I don't build muscle cars every day, and I have not a lot of experience with the both of them. Listen to this. Just such a mean sound and such a fast shift. Because speed-wise, this thing is intense. I absolutely condone it. The exhaust note when it pops, when you have it in track mode, is just an absolute animal. I don't even want to talk to you guys about EPA coverage because it gets 16 to 21 basically under optimal driving conditions. With these driving conditions today, I'm guessing we're going to be around 7. So we won't even go into that. If you are looking to buy one of these, I gotta suggest it. You know, for the price point, especially if you can pick up, you know, a 1 or 2 year old lease return or a 1 or 2 year old used with low miles, it's actually a very, very comfortable car. If you're just running back and forth to work in the office, you don't have kids, I think it's a lovely car to drive compared to a Corvette, compared to a Challenger, compared to stuff of that nature. They're all pretty much in the same boat. I have no reason, you know, without living with this thing for quite a while, I have no reason to dislike this. You know, like I said, I don't personally carry people in the back seat, so that's not a big thing for me. Like I said, my only thing would be, you know, not the convertible. This is really frustrating though, how it, you know, how I can hear the wind through the roof. That's a big one for me. That's going to be a big one for me. So, like, again, that can be remedied by getting the hard top, but in the convertible model, this right here is not cool. That's a thumbs down on the fit and finish quality on this Chevy Camaro. All right, guys, a couple other things I want to touch at in the review before we end. After I've spent the day with this car now, really got a feel for the ins and outs of it. And what I do want to say is the speakers suck. The kind of really tinny, really just not a good sound at all. And I mean, obviously, like, the engine makes a great sound, but like I said, I just kind of wanted a little bit more from the speaker system. This is a better spec car, you know, than an off the line, but you know, it is what it is. A couple other things. The roof, I finally figured out how to convert the roof. There's actually a flap in the trunk, and if the flap is not in the up position, the roof won't fold. Now, the nice thing about the roof is it is very, very, very fast, and it also converts while you're still going up to 30 miles an hour. So if you're at a red light, if you're just pulling away from a red light, it will continue, and 30 miles an hour is a pretty fair speed. Most cars are like 12 or 18 miles an hour. The roof will kick out and it won't convert anymore. So that's a plus for the Camaro. I still, like I said, would not choose the convertible just because of the visibility and the height issues. But like I said, if you do want the convertible, you know, it's pretty quick. A couple other things. The 6.2 V8 that complements the car is actually itself down into a 4-cylinder when you're traveling under certain conditions, which is obviously great for saving fuel. And like I said, under certain conditions, it will cut itself in half to be more economical. Like the majority of most modern cars, it does have a scrollable menu. Like I said, it is equipped with Apple CarPlay. It has quite a number of apps that you can download onto the screen. But again, we're not going to go into that in too much depth. So overall, for about $55,000, would I buy it? You know, it's a really, really well-equipped engine and drivetrain for that money. And if you want something that's not quite as heavy as the Hellcat, but still can perform similarly, like I said, it's not a bad buy. However, for that same price tag, you could be into a low-spec BMW M2, which I think would be a better option than this. So final advice on the Camaro, if you can pick up a used one of 2014 or earlier, which has a lot more tuning capabilities, I would say that's a good buy. They're right around $28,000 to $30,000 right now, and that's a good buy. You can make a lot of horsepower for not a lot of money. The brand new spec for, you know, after taxes, almost $60,000. I'd say there's probably better options. Like I said, specifically the BMW M2. So that's all for now. If you like the review, please drop a like. If you have any comments, have any other questions, please drop them in the comments below, and I'd be happy to answer them to the best of my ability. If not, we will see you next video.
Oh yeah, Diablo. Oh yeah, Diablo.